Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the UCE Nations Cup 2025. Guess what? It is our first time, our first kickoff games in Group A. It's going to be an absolute bloodfest here. There's a few big teams in here we're going to be watching over, Zep. And it's also going to be your first time casting over some Call of Duty Mobile alongside myself. So are you looking forward to this opportunity of a little bit of COD Mobile?
Oh, I'm absolutely ecstatic, over the moon to finally be here checking out some COD Mobile at the Nations Cup 2025, and I could not have put it better myself. As you said, we have some terrific teams playing in Group A. Really excited to get going and seeing what these teams have to offer live in person. It's going to be great to actually get to cast over it, analyze the game, figure out how they play, and sort of go along with the journey a little bit from the casting side of view and learn more about these players as we go. It's going to be a terrific evening.
Yeah, speak about learning some of these players. Well, our first matchup is going to be Germany versus Portugal, right? And the German side is going to be a well-known roster across the board, right? They've been competing in the UCE for quite some time. They've been the finalists. They've been in the actual EACS that we casted over. I did myself with the last time round, and was a fantastic showing from the NRW international side. So let's go switch over to that side. Let's go show what Germany's side has bringing to the table, because this side is full of top players, including teams and players from Exclusive and NRW. Veer, Neil, Lighty, Uncle Blood joining as well. Former caster of UCE, if you don't already recognise the lovely name. He's obviously doing his debut here in the competitive scene side for Germany. And then you've got Zuko as well. So a solid lineup. Probably the favourite of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, from what I've heard, again, coming in relatively new to the COD Mobile scene, one of the first things I was told with the games that we had today, that Germany was a team to be feared. So I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table, having the pleasure of being able to see a top side early on, see how high they set the bar that the rest of the teams are going to have to try and reach throughout. Yeah,
exactly. Well, they're going to be coming up against one of probably the underdogs of the group. Is going to be that side of Portugal. It's going to show the side that they've got involved here. You're going to have a few good players that you might recognise as well. Player FM, he reached a final before for UCE, but it was in a sniper 1v1 tournament who, funny enough, he faced off against Neil in that German side and lost to that final for a 0. But Neil still won some money from it, and that was €177 Neil won from the German side, so that was not bad. But yeah, the rest of the side, you're going to see Geo, Depressix, Clo, GX Glow, and then JC, and then Synth potentially being substituted in at some point throughout the series as well. It's a best of 3, Zep, so it's going to be interesting to see if we'll see changes between the sides and between these rosters going into it. Portugal, massive underdogs, but you know what? We've seen underdogs come out on top sometimes, right? And it could be an upset that we could see straight off the rip.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the idea of adding substitutes into the mix as well. You have certain players that are just better at different things in different moments to see what they bring to the table, whether it be a different map, different mode, whatever that may be. And again, hitting the nail on the head, Portugal, from what I've heard of them, from what I've seen, that they are the underdog side. They are a side that could pull something out of the bag. So even though they're going up against a really great side in Germany, I think Germany would be silly to underestimate their opposition tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And you're speaking of maps and modes there. Let's jump over at the maps and modes as well that we will be witnessing here. It's going to be a hard point start off in that lovely small combine map, which is fast-paced and hectic to say the least, especially when it's 5 versus 5, Zep. It's going to be something to show all these operator skills getting used in such close proximity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited to actually get to check out Combine again. I mean, of course, the map originally from Black Ops 3 was my very first competitive COD in general, and actually the very, very first map I picked up on the game back in the original Black Ops 3 beta, the first time I ever got a PlayStation 4. So that map brings back a lot of sweet memories, and to see it along many other classic maps in COD Mobile is always a special treat, and I'm just super excited to see how these teams play it.
Yeah, the only thing you're going to not see is the wall running side of things that we got the lovely side in Combine before. But that's unfortunate. Imagine seeing trying to control your mobile while trying to wall running as well. Like, would you have to like tilt it to the side to make sure you're on the side of the wall? I have no idea. Like, get that gyroscope on and see what we're doing. But I'm sure the teams are all set. They're already in lobbies. We should be getting underway very quickly because we're a little bit delayed than we were hoping to be. But we're waiting on a few things in the end, and if we do go the distance, right, we will see a crossfire control, which we unlikely in UCE, we have seen very many game frays, right? Especially kicking us off with Germany being the top favourites in probably the whole tournament. Very unlikely we will see crossfire in game 1. But Do you think there's a chance?
It's look, I think it is possible. Again, you know, you never say never, especially now. You know, given the cast of curse we've brought it up, it's surely going to happen. But I mean, I think you're going to find this in best of threes. I think you're on the money with where it's going to go. I've seen it across many an esport. You know, early on, it's usually the case of, you know, when you're starting a tournament, you're starting a cup, whatever it may be, it's a fresh one. It's usually going to be the team that has the more momentum through map 1. It carries them through to map 2, right? You're rarely seeing a switch around so early on because people are still getting to grips with the competitive pressure of that particular scenario, who they're playing against. They may not have played against them in a while. There may be new sort of strategies being figured out or pulled out of the bag early on the teams are taking into this cup. So I think the team that can set the momentum early with that map 1 win, I think you're dead right. I think they go on to win that map 2, but I'd love to be proven wrong on that. Yeah,
certainly. Well, map 2 will be that firing range. It's another old classic map. Do you remember that from back in the day, the good old firing range 1v1s? You always used to try and scope each other across the map and try to find some of these nice wee trick shots off the top of that tower, spinning around 360, maybe even more if you could, and pull off that no-scope trick shot. But you're going to see some of these. By the way, when you see the return of snipers, which we're not used to seeing in normal Call of Duty anymore, right? That has been GA'd to the life of us. We've not seen it in years now. But here in COD Mobile, you're still seeing shotguns. You're still seeing snipers. You're seeing these one shots, these great picks. It is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing it when it comes to firing range S&D, because 5v5 snipers involved. It is interesting, not to say the least. Operator skills as well. That is just something else.
Yeah, it's more variables to that competitive edge, right? I mean, we absolutely love Call of Duty across the board, but what you see sometimes in the standard esports side of things, it gets very much funneled down one lane of what works the best competitively. We're fortunate with COD Mobile. There's a lot that can work when it comes to the maps, when it comes to the weapons, and when it comes to how you can play. So hopefully both of these teams, as we get into this map 1, will be able to showcase a little bit of that variety.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're starting on board with that Portugal side here. Debresik's getting the first kill over to Uncle Blood in his debut. Unfortunately, it will fall straight away, but you know what? He's got plenty of time in this game. Portugal's getting the start, early lead, but free in the feed from Germany instantly breaks on in and flips that spawn side around for the German side.
Yeah, Germany with a terrific start, as you said, you know, a little bit slow to get to the point, but instantly pulling it back around. They have control of that point. They have the spawns read perfectly as well. As we are seeing here, Ver kind of getting the look around the side here, knows where they're pushing from to be able to pick that one up, isn't able to get a kill, gets taken out. So Portugal doing well to try and answer back, but you can see Germany, the way they're flooding back in here, it is quick, it is with force, and it is streamlined. They are not splitting left and right. They are sticking together to try and brute force this through, and they are still on the point. Credit where credit is due. Portugal look like they're trying to hang on to at least a portion of mid control, but they're not getting that all important time.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing. You get into the mid control, you get yourself pushed back, you get a few dead on that German side, but all of a sudden it all falls to pieces and you get pushed out. But for Portugal, you'll be happy, right? You still got that spawn side, you're still getting P2, but how quickly are Germany going to flood on in here and find the kills in the back needed? Is Lighty going to win that? He's got down to 1 HP, doesn't win that. Veer falls as well. All of a sudden Portugal are getting some good time here in P2 and holding off that German push from the front.
Yeah, they did a great job of holding off that push because they looked in real danger early on. It looked like they had lost it quick and we were going to see a German side start to get consistent in those spawn controls. But Portugal showing a bit of fight, hanging on. As you see, they're just trying to hold down in the back. Eventually gets taken off. You now have a player on the point. The spawns do indeed flip, and it was only a matter of time. And while it was a great defensive effort from Portugal to hold the time, you're still going to have a German side who will most likely get at least 30 seconds on this point after all that fighting. So Portugal, while they did well, they're still going to need to pull a bit more out of the bag.
Yeah, it's more than just the scraps. They're getting at least half of that time built up, and guess what? That just means that there's still about a 30-second lead going the way of Germany. Almost a 40-second as it just gets past that now. So you've got a good amount of time. P3 set up ready again for Portugal. A solid start from them if they can hold on, but you do see player number 4 does get spawned in the back, but does get sought out, thankfully, for that Portugal side. But as long as he can hold out here around the outside, that is the massive kill that was needed there, definitely to secure that route around. But the spawns are working out for Portugal and they're holding on for dear life here.
Yeah, Portugal actually getting a little bit of luck there. Player 4, I believe, Gio, just spawning in the back before that kill came through. So Portugal were still able to hold on to those spawns, which is giving them a lifeline early on in this game. Again, very important to keep themselves within the 20-30 point mark, because already you're seeing a German side who are just looking like they're growing in confidence, are kind of ready to storm away with this one, and have shown breaking power, right? They've not been too focused on the spawns. They've not been too worried about them, because they have shown up until now that they can have success pushing and holding from the front. But Portugal growing into this one, having a successful hold, pulling themselves back at least very even. Terrific defensive effort this time around.
Yeah, that is a solid hold on P3 as we get to look for set rotations here, going towards P4. It's going to be Germany setting up early, but this is where it starts to get interesting. This is where we start seeing operator skills getting invested here. We're going to see shooting bodies even after that player is dead and buried. But as it stands, Germany hold in control, trying to get a lot of these kill streaks getting involved, but fear will fall to one of them as well, unfortunately. But at least Germany still holding on to time with the contest coming in. Equalizer shut down instantly as soon as they get onto point as well. Absolutely annihilation from the Annihilator. Make sure that he does not get to use that equalizer to its full potential.
Yeah, Germany look really dangerous when they're in control, don't they? I mean, Portugal, we've seen from the success that they've had to fight for every single scrap, but when Germany are on the point, they're fairly consistent. But in saying that, Portugal now have the opportunity to pinch in through if they can get a little bit quicker in on the push, but they can't do it. Germany somehow holding on, Portugal spawning out once again. Now we'll be thinking of just going back to the next point, resetting there. Germany, the way they defended that point was kind of so wide from every angle, but having a player set up mid as well, just to constantly keep eyes on where those spawns are coming from Portugal, getting that information from across the map meant Germany had so much control of where to look at all times. Terrific hold from them.
Yeah, definitely getting a 50-point lead here as well, heading towards P1. Veer on a massive killing spree. Like, he's loving the life just now. 26 kills going his way. He's looking solid. You know what you're looking at though, Depressix? He's managed to get past the 20 side for the Portugal side, but they need a little more from a few of the other members in that roster to just start heating up. Uncle Blood not having the best of starts in his debut, but he's got to keep up with the pace of these fantastic pro players who've been playing in the scene for quite some time. Uncle Blood's got the knowledge, he's got the skill. You'll know how to switch on once he starts to figure out how the rest of his teammates play. But Germany are just holding domination here in P1, and it's struggling now here for Portugal to try and find any time on that.
Look, I mean, you got to give credit. I mean, Germany, they're pulling out just all the kills, right? I mean, Uncle Blood be looking there, and it's just like, is there any more kills I can get? My team is already pulling all out of the bag. But Portugal now back on the point, trying to get a little bit of control, but it's only temporary, as again, the Germany setup just allows them to collapse right on in as soon as they isolate a player on the inside. Portugal now spawning out for P2, which last time around they had a lot of the P2 spawn control, which is what allowed them to stay in it. All of a sudden you had a team that was in it, now nearly 100 points behind, and actually managing to pick up a spawn there in the back, so potentially a lifeline.
Yeah, well, let's see what Germany are saying. They're going to listen in here to see how these communication is going and how they're doing so well in this hardpoint so far.
Hardpoint is ours.
Schieß mich mal zurück, Mann. Kiefer.
Definitiv. Nein, Mann. Ich hab nur einen Annie-Kill, Digga. Das kann nicht sein.
Enemy down.
Pushing single, secret.
There we go. It's so simple, but there's very little being said from the German side, because you know what, they're in full control. They don't have to say too much. They know exactly what they're doing. They're working with each other almost just through telepathy. But I mean, what a solid hold that has been for Germany. They're almost at that 200 point mark, taking 100 points past Portugal so far. Portugal's still trying to fight their way back in.
Yeah, Germany have just hit a flow state, as he said, little on the comms, but little needs said, right? They're all doing the right thing, picking up the right angles, and as he said, there's just a lot of almost telepathy going. They're making the right plays, right? I mean, again, whenever Portugal are able to get into an area, it's very much just one or two players, and the way Germany set up, it means that everyone is just posted out around the outskirts, collapse back in central to wherever they're defending. They just pinch from all angles, so Portugal are never getting themselves more than 5 or 10 seconds at a time, and then Germany just forced them into a complete reset. Portugal fought so hard to begin begin with, but it was very much getting scraps here and there. Germany took their time, figured out their opposition, and as I've been saying since that listening, they're in a flow state now as they look to get this map 1 done.
Yeah, there you go. 45 seconds needed here to take the win. Portugal managed to get the break in from the back, get that spawnsy, but only 16 seconds remain on that time. Portugal going to try and fight for every single second here to make sure that it is not going to go any more way of Germany, but the rotations will favour Germany just because of the way that the spawns are for Portugal. So Germany won't be bothered too much for that little bit of scrap time because they could do it here, right here in the centre of the map. But guess what? Green Pills come from Depressix, and all of a sudden you've got a little break for a matter of seconds, but it's Zuko that will shut them down and make sure that Germany are in control of that hardpoint. Free dead in the feed, and all of a sudden Germany are looking to take control. 20 more seconds. Veer is looking for that 50 bomb. One more kill. He secures 50. There it is. It is done. 50 kills. Germany almost at 250 points.
Yeah, this is just immaculate from Germany. They are slaying out whilst having complete control, and even the way that they're pinching into those points when this point began. You had Lighty and Zuko pinch in perfectly to get that remaining player from Portugal who was on the site. Just again hitting these things immaculately. The timings are just insane, and that's not coincidence. This is something that they worked on. They recognized map position. They know where to be, the right time to get there, and Germany, the right time for them is now as they pick up the victory 250 to 114. It has to be said, a dominant performance.
Yeah, a very, very solid performance here for Germany. We did say they are one of the favourite sides, and Portugal were the underdog. It was a difficult task for Portugal. They started off pretty well, actually, to be fair, and they managed to get it to almost even Stevens after the first set of rotations, but eventually just the momentum from Germany just kept them flowing, and you said it, they were so quiet in the canvas because they didn't need it. They knew exactly where they needed to be at the right times and given the rotations because of the knowledge of the game they have. So let's pull up that scoreboard. Let's have a look at seeing what kills we got in the end. And Veer, massive MVP performance. 54 bomb. He only took 35 seconds on the kill because, you know what, Uncle Blood, he did all the hill sitting. He was the hill little kitten at the bottom there, but you know what? You need the points on the board. It doesn't matter how many kills you get. You need the time on a hard point, and that's exactly what Uncle Blood did.
Well, look, I mean, it seems like the obvious thing to do from Uncle Blood, but you really have to give credit to be able for doing that, right? You're not picking up the kills. You're not finding the same wave of momentum as the rest of your teammates who are slaying out. So why try and play a game that is not working for you? Go in and sit on that hill. Allow your teammates to push out and do what they're doing best and be that anchor player. Be the one who is soaking up the time, right? And it's about having that balance as a team. That is such a huge strength to have. If you're a player who's not doing well and you start to panic and you start to challenge more gunfights because you want to pick up those numbers, all of a sudden you're going to be a detriment and you're going to be achieving nothing. Be the player that your team needs you to be in that moment. Uncle Blood picking up that role perfectly to get over 3 minutes. Yeah,
exactly. Playing the roles correctly, knowing where it suits the side to work exactly as it needed and intended. 3 minutes is a solid amount of time on a hill. I don't even think I last 30 seconds on a hill in any hard points for a whole time because I just get slayed on out. So to survive that long and to get all that time accumulated just shows you that the work around the team have been flowing and the outside as well, so that Uncle Blood can be there, safe, secure, and rack up the points needed to take that win in game number 1. We'll be going to firing range S&D next up. It's going to be a change of pace, but not so much a slow pace when it comes to S&D and COD mobiles. It's still fast paced nonetheless, but one life matters this time round. It's all about who's getting the first picks, who's getting the first opportunities, and remember, you get like 6 rounds before we switch sides, so you're going to be on the attack for this amount of time. You could potentially be 6-0 up and only needing 1 more round to win on that defense, but all of a sudden it just switches around and momentum shifts. So how do you think that'll play out in the hands here, depending on who gets on the attacking side first? If it's Germany, do you think they just run away a 6-0 lead, or do you think Portugal might actually have a wee chance to steal a few rounds off them?
I think it all just comes down to if Portugal can offset that momentum, right? We've seen Germany hit a flow state. We've seen them get comfortable, feel like they understand their opposition. Germany may give them a little bit of respect early on, but if they can take a round or two, they're going to get quick, they're going to get aggressive, and they're going to smother Portugal. The first few rounds here are going to be huge.
Yeah, so Portugal on the attack for the first rounds here. And the first kill going away. Finds Zico, finds Neo next as well. Here's Bronx, but then JC gets taken out back for back. But it's Uncle Blood and Veer up against 3 players of Portugal here on this defense. Veer gets shut down from Chloe. It's all down to the debutant of Uncle Blood. Can he clutch up for his side here in the defense?
Well, it would be a huge moment for him if he could. I mean, not pulling the best of numbers in map 1, doing the job. Can he do the job for a side here? Now when they need him, he needs the kills. That bomb is planted. We need to try and get in and at least get one pick. Gets the spot, but won't see the player in his right dropped. Again, the timing's a little unfortunate, but Portugal doing a terrific job there of getting the picks and getting a vital round.
Yeah, definitely attacking round needed, definitely for sure. A good start for Portugal. This slowly taking momentum away from Germany. The more rounds they win, the more Germany get put on that back pedal and start to slow down, maybe start thinking about their plays going into it. But looks like we're going to have a full send down mid. The bomb does get dropped there as Uncle Blood does find his first kill here off against Depressix, but he gets instantly traded by Klo, so we're still to a 4v4 scenario.
Another pick coming in there from Zuko, who gets instantly dropped the moment he runs out of that door. 2 versus 3 now, Portugal on the back foot. They're going to need to be able to show that they can win from the back foot from time to time, or else they're going to be in real trouble. But with another being dropped there from a succulent snipe, and another once again, Germany even it up, and it felt like they're almost toying with Portugal there a little bit.
Well, this is why Neil won that 1v1 tournament when it came to snipers. He just seen it there, one after another. Sat down instantly with that sniper in hand. 3 kills going away in these 2 rounds for Neil. Looking to try and line some more up here as Bronx is trying to do the same on the other side where there's the smoke. As he can get something through there, possibly, but the shotgun of Veer finds one and finds a second of Sunjishi and Klo are shut down. Germany looking to try and find more, and Veer on the hunt for Depressix finds his third, looking for a 4th. Is he going to find Bronx as well? No, he's shut down.
Great save. Oh, wow.
I thought he was going to go and do them all.
Yeah, I mean, it would have happened if it wasn't for that save, giving Portugal a little bit of a lifeline here, but that quickly looked like it's going to be snuffed out as Germany may have sacrificed the first round to see how things were going. But hang on just a minute. That was a huge
hit marker. That's unfortunate as well.
It was a hit. Oh, it was a hit,
I thought
marker. That was it.
No, you got a hit marker and that was it. Neil and Uncle Blood, Zuko were all still alive. It's still a 1v3. Gets again another hit marker, and he's unfortunately gets shut down by Neil. 2 hit markers and not getting the kill. That could have been the 2 kills and made it a 1v1. That's unfortunate for Portugal there, just to get the tags and not get the kills. But well done for Germany to bringing that one back around and get the round. All from Veer's 3-piece with that shotgun in hand.
It was huge from Germany, but Portugal, you just think, God, you want a little bit of luck to go your way with those shots, and it just doesn't happen. First bloods, though, coming in for Portugal now, a 5 versus 3. This is the best chance they're going to get here, you feel, to even this one back up.
Yeah, well, there's a even back up straight away here as Germany starts finding 3 of their own, and all of a sudden we're in a 2v2 scenario, waiting around at a bomb site. Bomb is down from the German side, so they're going to know exactly where to be waiting for Portugal to come and collect that, because in that situation, now the bomb's down, you're like, the only way to win this is by winning all these kills and winning these fights 1v1, or else we've got to try and hunt that bomb out. We've just got sitting where we've got the killer of Veer just sitting waiting patiently.
Yeah, running the time, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to play patient in these scenarios, and you know, be ready for when the time comes. You don't want to get too over aggressive, too overzealous. Make sure to go at the right place at the right time. Is Veer going to get a little bit of good timing though? Does he see the player above him? Don't think so. Doesn't get the sense. 50 seconds left. Gonna need to get that bomb picked up soon.
Yeah, it's going to be Gio that's trying to look for Veer. Veer's trying to look for Jair, but there you go. It is Veer that finds the spot. Gio didn't know he was there, but now that he does, he's going to have to play his life here as Bronx gets shut down. Gio does find Veer, so we're in a 1v1 scenario. Zuko versus Gio. Scope. Oh, and it's not the scope that wins it. It is the AR will win that gunfight. Unfortunately, the one shot just did not work out for the Portugal side, and Germany take a 3-1 lead.
And you wonder how huge that round is going to be looking back. If you're Portugal,
Destroy the objective.
you're going to be looking back and thinking we had a chance to make it 2-2 and have a chance, or did we feed Germany a little bit of momentum to send them 3-1 up and perhaps even further up? Again, Portugal need to keep themselves in this one, and you know, we've seen how well they did at the beginning of that hard point, keeping themselves in it, but falling away over time. Can't let the same happen here.
You can't let Veer just run at you as well with that shotgun. He's just devastating with it in hand, and he's found another 2 in the kill feed. Veer finds another. He's picked up a little marksman rifle there and takes out JC. Uncle Blood gets shut down though from Depressix, so they do tie one down, and Bronx finds another. Veer gets shut down, and all of a sudden Germany are down to 1. It's a 2v1, and lately it's got a sniper. Oh, it was almost lined up as well. Oh, he's going for the quick scope. He's got to throw the machine pistol out. He wins the fight on Bronx, and now it's a 1v1.
No.
Oh, he's
No.
selfie
My
with it.
God.
He doesn't take that lightly. Oh my.
Oh, I mean, as soon as I saw him go for the aim and not go for the plant, I was just like, oh, he's read the timings here. He knows what he's doing, and he just peeked out at the perfect time. But I mean, that snipe was just disgusting.
And this is why I miss watching snipers in general. It is such a great thing to watch. It is so clutch moments at times that you needed to do. Where with that shotgun as well, does exactly what he does best, and that's come around corners and one shot on you. But he just gets shut down quite quickly here, and Portugal do get 2 kills, make that 3 kills in a row. All of a sudden, Portugal on the back foot this time in this defense.
Yeah, not a great position to be in here for Germany, who are kind of seemingly just playing very far away from this B side, just taking their time, very split, but maybe just going to collapse on at the right time. Going to be coordinating with each other. I imagine the comms now are very calculated as they're going to try and slowly but surely edge their way towards the site. Yeah. Very curious to see how Germany break this one.
Definitely looking for all the angles, but Gio shuts down Zuko. Uncle Blood does get one himself, but he'll be eventually found out, and JC will get the kill. It is going to be a 4-2. We'll switch around, and now we're going to see Portugal on that defensive side. Let's see what Germany have to offer when it comes to the attack. Uncle Blood pulling out the nade to start us off. Is he going to send one right over the top of the firing house range here, right through mid-map, looking for a first blood, puts his trophy system out as well, and set up so there's no nades going to hit him in the face and explode him to death.
Nice first blood coming in there for Germany. Gives them a little bit of an opportunity here to edge themselves ever closer to victory. 4-2, sort of that crucial point where they can see the finishing line here if they can pick up a couple more rounds, and that is just disgusting. I mean, I wonder how much fun Germany are having here at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that is taking it lightly. Like, they just literally took it out with a boxing glove to the face. Lights out. Exactly what was needed there for Germany. But Depressix trying to find one of these picks. It's Uncle Blood and Zuko. There's a chance still in this 1v2, but the bomb is down, so you've got time against you. You just need to hit one of these, and he does do so. Zuko is found out. It's only Uncle Blood left remaining. Can he clutch up here and get the kill before he can get that done? No, Uncle Blood's showing his rounds, but now he knows. He's predicting the fire, but I think he's going to run out of time here if he plays for too long.
Yeah, time is running out, and the kill coming through. Another round for Germany, and yeah, they're looking strong. And look, don't get me wrong, Portugal, they are showing moments and flashes in the pan as a team, but what's really scary about this Germany side is that we've seen a number of these rounds not just go well as a team, but like the individual moments, whether it be the snipes or the plays in general, what we are seeing, they just seem to have it all when it comes to both that team play and individual moments.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he opens up the first blood there in this round. Veer follows quite quickly afterwards, but he will be traded out. Neil will find Depressix, and all of a sudden, you'll be a bit depressed if you're Portugal, because you are now 2 members down to what Germany have here in this attack. And they're starting to make their way towards that A-bomb site. It's fully clear for them as well. And the 2 players of Portugal are pretty much back and forward between each other. And he's looking for 2 with the machine pistol. Only finds 1. Zuko will finish JC. And we are 1 round away for Germany to clutching up in their first win of the Nations Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking all a little bit too easy now for them. And again, you can tell this Portugal side does have something in the bag. So the fact that they have been so nullified throughout has been really scary to see. I think Germany potentially looking to instill a bit of fear here in the rest of the opposition throughout the Nations Cup with an early dominant victory like this, if they can clutch it up here.
Yeah, certainly we'll be putting a little bit of thought into everybody else that's going to be playing up against them in Group A, at least before we even think about further on into the stage. Lighty opens up with a machine pistol kill. McNeil will find the next one onto Bronx, but we'll bring one back. The Depressix will find another. All of a sudden we're tied at 3-3. Make that Geo find in Veer as well, and all of a sudden Portugal have got the 1-man advantage. Can they make that count is the question.
Well, we're about to find out. Lighty knows where 1 is at least, and well, he's going to know where he is, but it's not really going to do much as Gio basically picking up 1, and Portugal giving themselves a lifeline, but I mean, it's not just a hill they have to climb, it's a mountain from here.
Yeah, you can call Everest pretty much, because that is definitely, you're dying on that mountain at this point in time. But you know what? We've never seen things come around so difficult. Like, defense is normally the more favored side. If that's going to be the place you win it, it is right here in defense. Bronx opens up the first kill and the second kill, finding McNeil straight away as well after that. And all of a sudden, Germany are down to 3 players before the round even really kicked off.
Yeah, Germany's slowing down a little bit here. Portugal taking full advantage of this flip side on that defense. But again, they just need to be patient, make sure they don't get overzealous, because Germany are waiting for that. But they're going in for the push now. They have a fair idea of where these last 2 German players are sat. You would think it's only a matter of time, but will they be able to get a pick before? JC going through, able to pick up one, going for the second, isolated in the back. Surely it's done.
It's got tags on, and Chloe will finish it up. There we go. Another round, 2 in the board for Portugal. Exactly what they need to swift the momentum their way. Can they keep that going, though? And can they keep it? Because it's only 1 round they lose and the game is done. They need to keep this ice for the remaining matches and try and tie things up here.
Yeah, they have found that vein of form, that little bit of flow, the ice in the veins, as you say. And keeping it there is easier said than done. Germany taking their foot off the gas pedal a little bit and will definitely put it back on once they feel like they're in real danger. But can Portugal perhaps be the danger themselves laid on? Huge gunfight coming on through.
How he snaps back on there is so quick from Depressix. I have no idea. He looked right, he looked left within a second. Maybe even less than that second, to be fair. And then he does it again. Uncle Blood's found in the corner. It's all down to Neil. We're going to see a 6-5 here, unless Neil can do something magical. And he's done 1, but he can't find a second. Gio will shut him down in Portugal. We'll find another round on the board. And we're almost at a tie game.
Almost even Stevens, and you see what these players can do. I can barely pull off these movements on the controller, so
That's just what I said so many times when I've watched it. It is ridiculous. I can't even look at my phone screen quick enough to even do that.
Listen, I see my 8-year-old cousin on an iPad, and I tell you, the younger generation and their ability to play on screens like this, it is a beauty to behold. I could never be that guy.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely not me. I'd be squinting for a long time. It's such a small screen for me as well. And at my age, I just don't ever see anything at close range. Like, doesn't matter how big that screen is, how small that screen is. Nothing is visible. But JC, he's seen the opposition. He's trying to make things even here, but it's 3 versus 3. Portugal versus Germany. I mean, it's a fire old match to see if this was football. But this is COD Mobile. This is the Nations Cup. This is Group A. It is game 1, and Portugal want to try and tie this up and try and take it to at least a game 3. But Lighty shuts down JC. Trades for trade goes out. It's all down to Lighty. The time is going to go down. Is he going to be able to hold off for the bomb? Looks likely. Unless that defuse is coming in. It's not. Lighty gets the kills, and all of a sudden Germany clutch up in the matter of seconds to find the kills. It looked like the defuse was almost on there for Portugal, and we were almost going to get a tie game in that S&D. But it turns out we're just on the Peter of the edge. We're just on the edge of it. It was
so close.
Potentially going to overtime.
Yeah, it was super close. But look, the Portuguese sides in general, as you mentioned other games as well, they can't even pick up wins against sides like Ireland as of late. So it's just they're just not in a fine vein of form across any sport at the moment here, as they're unfortunately not able to pick up the result against Germany. But my God, they tried. My God, they tried. You take a look at the scoreboard here as well. They had their moments. I mean, you had Bronx as well picking up 13 kills. Actually the most out of anyone here in the lobby. Just goes to show that when they were on a vein of form, they provided real danger. But again, just in comparison to the rest of what Germany were able to bring to this, it just about wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't. You had Vera running with shotgun. You had Neil with that sniper. They were just very difficult players to deal with in the grand scheme of things. And clutching up in the end to find the win here was Lighty, and he did what he had to do. He found the first kill. You realize he's in a 1v2, but you know what? The only other place that they could potentially be was on that bomb, because it had to be defused, and he turned around and instantly spotted that bomb diffuser. Finishes him off with, it must have been the smallest of margins before that timer was going to be done, and it would have been overweight, and we'd have seen a 6-6. We'd been going to overtime in firing range and a chance for Portugal to take it to game 3, but unfortunately in game number 1 they won't do that. But that's probably the difficult game that they're going to get in this group, right? That's their hardest game for sure, and they put on a good show, so there's a chance that they can take some wins in this group and still go on and advance into that later stages. Zep.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, again, we've seen a Portuguese side who are very, very good. And as you said, playing against the hardest opposition that they will play in this group stage and giving them a game from time to time, right? I mean, look, we're far off it when it came to the hard point. Search and destroy, they found a good wave of form. Definitely negatives that they can look at, but I think in a game like this against an opposition like that, you just got to pick apart the positives, see what was working, get an understanding of it, and also just figure out what went wrong, but don't let that bring you down. Just make sure that you work on that and improve on that. It is early doors, plenty of time left to get working on those problems and plenty of oppositions left to see if you can correct those problems again. So Portugal, I think, are going to have a terrific run themselves if they can keep up that wave of form, but Germany, as predicted, looking very, very scary.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking about the other teams that they have to play in that group, we will be seeing them next. It will be Netherlands up against Saudi Arabia. So we'll see you after the break for that matchup, where it's going to be a really closely contested match between these two sides. Welcome back, everyone, to the Nations Cup 2025 Group A, day number 1, or game number 1. But we're going to the game number 2 in Group A. It is going to be Netherlands up against our Saudi Arabian African representative. This is going to be an interesting one. I think this will be a little bit of a closer matchup, Zep, than our previous match in game number 1, where the favourites of the tournament were up against one of the underdogs of Portugal. But it turned out to be quite a good game for Portugal nonetheless, whereas this team, you're going to have Saudi Arabia, who've got a team that have got a couple of players that are potentially will make the second best team in this group based off of their quality that they have from players of Vicious and Twisted Minds. So quite good names in the rosters that will be participating in that Saudi Esports League. So they've got a lot of reps in them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited to see what these two teams are like again after just witnessing that Germany and Portugal game. We saw a top-tier side against a side who I think on their day are very good, but definitely weren't the team to take down Germany. Now, as you say, going into a matchup that's going to be a little bit more even, we're just going to be able to see what these two sides are going to be able to bring against each other. And I'm excited to see a little bit of back and forth, see how close it ends up being. And then, as we were talking about in the previous game, are we going to see a map set that does go all the way in this best of 3? Or, as we talked about earlier, that kind of early stages, will we see the team that gets that momentum from map 1 simply be able to carry it through into map 2 with little counteraction?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see if that's going to be the case. Let's pull up the side of Netherlands first of all, just to see who will be taking part from that Netherlands roster. You're going to see Lillian, Aim, Nico, Lax, Michael, and Kaishu. This team has just been created, right, for this Nations Cup. So definitely an underdog side, because the manager of this is actually Chat, which is pretty much the owner and one of the main goals, the benefactors of this whole tournament. So, I mean, fantastic to see his side get involved in his own tournament for the first time. And then we're going to see, on the other hand, the Saudi Arabia roster. You're going to see the players that we mentioned here, some of which, like you said, Twisted Minds and vicious players, right? It's going to be Nuke, Twist, Ricky, Khaled, SAR, and Abakil, I think it'll be. But yeah, that's a very, very tricky roster to be coming up against here if you are Netherlands. This is your first opportunity, because second in the group, potentially looking for that Saudi Arabia side. Do you reckon the distance will play a factor in this game?
Oh, I mean, I think it'll just be a case of waiting and seeing. I mean, this Netherlands side, we really don't know what they're going to be able to pull out the bag. Saudi Arabia looking like that side that could end up fighting for that second place. You know, it really is between them and Portugal. I think at this moment in time, people are counting out the Netherlands as much as they can count out a side. But after this series, we may see that as being a severe underestimation. And as we go to take a look at the maps as well, we will get a look at how these sides are going to face off against each other. I'm really excited to see, you know, what they bring to the table against each other and how they face off against each other on these maps, and, you know, seeing if they have any particular favorites. You know, I'll be curious maybe if Netherlands are going to get a little bit fortunate with the maps that show up. Are they going to be ones that strongly favor them? Yeah,
well, speaking of the maps, it will be the same for every single matchup in day number 1, right? So we're going to go back to Combine Hardpoint. If you pull up on the screen, if it's there, you will still see that again. That's our first matchup in Hardpoint. We'll back to Fire and Range for Search and Destroy. I think, though, potentially we will see this crossfire control in this matchup. I think there's still a chance here for Netherlands to pull something out of the bag here and surprise that Saudi Arabia side.
It's definitely possible, right? I mean, look, we've seen the way that Firing Range Search and Destroy worked as well, how back and forth it can be. You know, you think you're in control, you're winning that defense, and all of a sudden you have to go onto an offense, and finding life is just a little more difficult, which is what Firing Range Search and Destroy brings to the table, right? There's not many lanes of engagement. It's very sort of, as much of a classic map that it is very predictable, those kind of lines of sight, lanes of engagement. So it's just very much about if you can hit your shot first and if your movement is there. So it can be very back and forth, very defensive favoring, and very up in the air because of that. I think that's where we're going to see the biggest swing. However, I think this first hard point is going to be hugely up in the air.
Yeah, definitely. This could be a very, very interesting one. I want to see a lot of these operators being used wisely and at the right times as well, because we didn't get to see very many of the kills and actually the usage of the operators in that last matchup. We were switching back and forth, but we're seeing Fear going on massive kill streaks. We're seeing lots of kills being done with the weapons in hand. But we should be seeing a lot of operators' opportunities and kind of use them at the key moments, right, to break hills potentially as well, because you bring out like a death machine or an equalizer. That is your way into a hill if you're struggling to find your way. So you hold on to that operator for maybe a break, or even just to try and hold off the team that's coming in. That's when you want to use these and utilize them to their full potential, so you can almost maximize the most amount of time you can get in that hard point.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, we didn't see many of them in the Germany and Portugal side because, again, while they were being used, they weren't being hugely relied upon, because ultimately that German side, they didn't need a difference maker, right? They weren't a side that was going in and needing something to pull them over the line. They were very much in control, could play on defending a lot of those hard points and never had to rely on anything else. And then at the same time, in the same vein, Portugal were never using them in such a way in where it was gaining them time, it was gaining them map control. It was very much, you know, territory, outside, outskirt kills. It was never in a central moment, in a huge moment to get in, break a hill, and either retain control or actually break in and get control themselves. So now that we're going to be in a game that is a little bit more even and may rely slightly more on those moment by moment basis, a crucial rotation to a hill, a last 10 seconds that is going to change the dynamic of the game, or when you're going up against a team who's freshly sat on that defense ready to hold a full 60 and you need to get in there and it's make or break, that's when you're going to see these specialists really come through and really show their full power.
Yeah, there's nothing worse as well, though, is like you just instantly pop your operator skill, right? And you're right, this is the opportunity to make that break, and you just get shut down from somebody the other side of the map and you're not expecting them there. And you're like, oh, well, that's the operator. I've wasted it for this time just to try and get in. And it's all about timing, momentum, using it wisely and using it at the right times to get the opportunities. And hopefully we get to see a lot more of them getting some good kills and getting some good breaks through here between the sides. We'll be getting ready to get started very soon. Sorry about the delay here. We're just waiting on things to be loaded up in the background for us to kick us off. But with Netherlands and Saudi Arabia on the cusp of starting off, I'm really hoping I want to see a game 3, right? I want it to be a close matchup. I don't want to see like obvious favourites in the end of these groups. Germany were obviously pretty strong and dominant in that hard point in the end after the second set rotation started. I'm hoping we're getting a close hard point. We get a close firing range, potentially see overtime on that one, and then even go a game 3 where it becomes all down to a control, which control on this one, you're just going to see a lot of spawn traps, right, on Crossfire. It is crazy, but you see so many kills in the kill feed, and you just see some people lining up the perfect snipes and getting one after the other, Zeb. You'll love to see some control if we get there in the distance, because especially for yourself, being the first time watching some COD Mobile and casting over it, you have to get a control under your belt, and that's the hardest part to get to, because we hardly ever see it in these best of 3s in group stages. You have to wait till like the knockout stages before we get best of 5s, and you're guaranteed to see one. But yeah, in the best of 3s, it is very few and far between.
Yeah, it's one you definitely need in the back pocket for that later stage. But, you know, one thing we need to consider as well is, again, we talked about this best of 3 and we talked about how it's early stage, that momentum is going to be huge, right? So I think when it comes to, you know, the momentum on the overall between these two sides, if we see the side that wins out in hardpoint, whoever that may be, start off on the preferred defensive side in firing range, where they're more than likely going to be able to pull through more rounds, that is going to be a huge momentum drainer for the opposition side, right? Because you are going in, whether it was a close game, whether it was an absolute blowout, you're going in potentially after a loss, going into one where you're going to find yourself a number of rounds down, to where you really, from that point on, if you want to rescue anything from the series, have to play perfect COD from there on out. So it really ramps up the pressure, and that pressure can be tough to deal with at such an early stage in the season. So whatever side drops themselves here in the hard point and is not able to pick it up, they're going to be fingers crossed that they'll be favored with that defense to begin with to pull themselves back in.
Yep, definitely. But we have got a little bit of a bug game, as unfortunately, so we will have to see where we're at this point in time. But yeah, Combine being our kicking off map once again, and we're going to see a lot of Combine throughout. This is one of the favour sides. You know, the good thing about COD Mobile, interestingly enough, when we were casting it previously, Zep, is we were unlucky that we never ever got to see that little minimap, right? That wasn't available. It was tucked away in the corner, a little corner of it you were able to see because it was bugged out and never ever shown on the screen. Luckily, they fixed that issue and we got to actually see what was happening, and we get to see the rotations and where the players are all setting up, which, you know, it's crucial for casters like us to kind of chat over it and expect to see what's happening next. And our observers will know exactly who to be thinking about, who they're going to be watching as well. So I'm glad that that has been picked and sorted out for us to watch some Combine, because it is one of the most favoured picks of maps for COD Mobile that I have watched for sure.
Oh yeah, and I mean, just a mini map in general to watch in any form of callcast or casting, you know, software in general is super important, right? I mean, again, you're myself and I. Or yourself and I, should I say, not myself and I, I'm not double, but we've had the pleasure of working on you know, many esports over the years, and I've worked on plenty of titles myself that don't actually have a mini map when it comes into things, and it ends up being so difficult to be able to discern and break down where players are pushing, the timings that they are getting on rotations, those crucial movements that are off camera, because, you know, as I say, the best observer in the world is not going to be able to capture everything important that goes on in a game at once. So having that mini map available just constantly allows you to be able to keep an eye on the crucialities that are happening just on the outskirts, whether that's a spawn rotation, whether that is a pinch. It really just adds another dynamic to both, I think, our ability to be able to break down something for the audience and for yourselves as casters, and then for yourselves at home watching, to actually just be able to see what's going on. It's a terrific place for you to be able to actually understand more if you yourself want to get better as a player. You get to directly see what the top teams in the world are doing and being able to understand why it works. It is such an underrated and crucial thing in esports.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you can slow things down. You can watch things back. You look at that mini map. You can then predict exactly where teams will potentially go on their rotations and start to figure out ways to counter that next time up you ever face them in action. But we're now going to see Netherlands and Saudi Arabia in action. Who's going to get the first blood? There you go. SAR opens it up straight away there for Saudi Arabia. But Netherlands are going to get that first. A little few seconds of time, but not for long.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia getting a lot of early control, pushed up slightly slower than the Netherlands, but getting it with control. However, the Netherlands potentially answering back here, and I'm already liking the flank that's coming wide here, because they're going to be able to come at this point from multiple angles. Maybe try and push forward for P2 as well, perhaps maybe a little early. It's getting traded back and forth, but now Netherlands isolated on the point, completely taken off it. But they do have those crucial P2 spawns, which will be huge for them. They want to be able to prove that they can hold on to these points early as Saudi Arabia take a little bit of a lead here with 20 seconds still to go. Netherlands have plenty of time to orchestrate a couple of more pushes forward. As Saudi Arabia, again, I'm watching here at Vinook, just kind of playing wide from the point to be able to collapse back on in and pick up a couple of crucial kills to keep that time for Saudi Arabia. Terrific play from them to start.
Yeah, definitely a terrific start. He does get shut down though as Michael finds 2 in the feed. That's 4 dead in the feed straight away from Netherlands as they try to keep control of P2, but it doesn't last long. Saudi Arabia have managed to make that break. The Predator missile finally in the back as well, and that flips the spawn sides on Saudi Arabia's favour. They're in control of the hard point, and they have the spawns. They have the opportunity to hold some good time, but another 3 dead here for Netherlands. His chance to get back in as Vokin gets his way in, finds a big kill, and all of a sudden it is still player 2 in the back though, holding the spawns for his side, but he doesn't last long enough for any of the players of Saudi Arabia to try and get that new spawn, and all of a sudden Netherlands start to clutch time back away here from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I really like the breaking power there from Netherlands. It was strong by them. They pushed through the front, they managed to pick up the trade, get the kills and get those spawns, but it seems to be just a case of the sides here that are pushing from the front are finding the most success on the point. As now Saudi Arabia push through, break, and are going to be able to hold themselves, but for how long? Do Netherlands push forward for that scrap, or do they start to think of the rotations? We're trying to see them move out now towards mid-map, but Saudi Arabia are holding on, and you see now the Netherlands set up towards P3. Very mixed hill in the overall that P2, but I think Saudi Arabia will still be happy at where they're sitting, 71 to 31 going into P3.
Yeah, and they've managed to flip the spawns here as well. So you've got 2 players in Netherlands spawning in the back, right, trying to deal with the player of Saudi Arabia. They eventually do, but they still have that spawns as well. So they got a kind of flip spawn, which is unfortunately they get in split because you can now help from pushing in from both sides. But Saudi Arabia have got so much ground ahead, and they have control of that hard point. And look at all these kills going down. Annihilator, Death Machine, everything being expended here, and the equalizer from Khaled. Now, where's he going to go with that though is the question. He has opportunities to line players up from the spawn. That is absolute annihilation here for Saudi Arabia here as they're wiping that kill feed completely of Netherlands players, and they're struggling to find the break in. But guess what? All of that's expended, and now the opportunity for Netherlands to break back in with 23 seconds still remaining.
Yeah, Netherlands doing a good job of breaking in, getting a little bit unfortunate with the spawns there. Saudi Arabia getting into the back, but we're actually able to use spawning out as a perfect chance to pinch on a couple of stragglers on the hill, meaning they should be good for the scrap when it comes to a race to the rotation, the P4, of which Saudi Arabia are there first, but we're going to have to hold on to the first wave of kills, do so successfully, and should be set up for this P4. Netherlands proving that they can break, though. This has been a closer game up until now.
Yeah, it is definitely a very close matchup here. We've got 30 seconds the difference here between the two sides. An opportunity for anybody. Let's jump on board with the Netherlands and see how noisy they are getting here trying to break in that hill.
P2. Dead.
Just
focus on pushing Dale. Just focus on him.
We lost the lead.
Shotgun in the...
Shotgun, yeah, shotgun. Bro, these 30 VPN. Alright. Protest.
Yeah, rock. Hardpoint is ours. Hardpoint contested.
I'm nading.
Seen that war machine trying to hold him off here. They heard it was P2 spawns. He got a couple of kills, but he tried to finesse inside the hill and got shut down. All of a sudden, Saudi Arabia make that break back in, and they start taking that lead away with the remaining scrap time. As we head back to P1 here, Zep. It's still a close enough game here for Netherlands to bring this back.
Yeah, it is a very close game, and it is fine margins, but what I'm seeing often is that Saudi Arabia are getting in for our initial 20, Netherlands come through then for the next 20, and then between the scrap time that is left, it's usually Saudi Arabia picking up that last 10 to 15, which means that they are just constantly finding themselves being able to edge away ever so slightly, or at the very least keep the lead. The Netherlands do a great job of fighting back, getting onto a point for a while and recouping some of that time, but they're never doing enough to hold a full scrap of 30. They're only ever making it around 20, which just unfortunately at this stage isn't being enough for them to start crawling their way back into this one.
Yeah, like there, they find 3 dead in the feed. Now they need to try and push a little bit further forward into that Saudi Arabia spawn here to make sure they can hold on to this time. There's still 30 seconds remaining. This will be a big amount of time for the Netherlands to hold on to, but they're still too far back in their own side of spawn, but they're thinking about P2 as well, which makes sense. But if you're too far back and you're not holding Netherlands, Saudi Arabia back, they're going to break on through like they just did and get the opportunity to get that 12 seconds of scrap time before P2 kicks off.
I mean, this is it. This is exactly what I was just saying, right? I mean, Netherlands, they get through, they get the break, 30 seconds left. You're thinking that's a lot of time to recoup. And then at the 15-second mark, Saudi Arabia get back in, get the scrap, and they're able to keep the lead at what it is, around a 50, 60-point lead. Netherlands are really, really close to being able to be on top of these hills. It's genuinely coming down to that last wave of gunfights. It's being make or break for them.
Yeah, is it a rotation too early, you reckon, for that P2? Thinking, right, we'll set back up. The players are too far back inside their spawn, and it's not actually helping out for them. But Saudi Arabia, look at that. They're full contesting this. They're bringing everything to the gunfight here. Equaliser finding 2 here from Khalid as well. SHR will find 2 of his own as well. And Saudi Arabia make the break early on. 35 seconds still remaining for them to try and get even further a gap than that 50-point mark that we've seen quite considerably. And that equaliser still going off from Khalid. How long has that lasted? Holy.
Yeah, it's just, I think, a case of, I think Netherlands are overestimating the importance of spawns at this moment in time. They've not been making full use of the spawns when they've had them, so I didn't really see the necessity of making sure they had them on the switch, and it's clearly not working for them, as Saudi Arabia have gotten the majority of this time, and what was a pretty close 40 to 50 point game is edging its way towards a 100-point game, as Saudi Arabia growing in confidence, getting themselves pushed straight towards P3, where Netherlands only have 3 in the hold. They do have spawns, but again, we've seen how well they were able to hold last time, which wasn't very well. They need to be able to hold on here, or it's going to be game, set, match.
Well, yeah, you're saying game, set, match. You see 3 dead in the feed, and 3 of them players are spawned out as well. So Saudi Arabia get that spawn side, they get the break, and now they get the opportunity to find some more kills inside the hard point. But you know what? It's trade for trade, and Netherlands will still stay in control. Only 1 player there, though, and the spawns are Saudi Arabia's favour. But that's a good couple of kills for Netherlands. They will get that P2 spawns, but P3 spawns, sorry there, but can they get the opportunity to break that hill and get that remaining 30 seconds and hold on to it?
Well, it is either now or never. They need to get in, and they need to play perfect card from here to be able to hold, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen again. Just constantly seeing the ability to maybe get 10s and 20s, but Saudi Arabia doing enough to hold on, and actually doing a little better than that here as they're starting to be a little bit more dominant as this game goes through. Netherlands are struggling to find the answers against Saudi Arabia, and I think you have to credit Saudi Arabia for the way they play as well. When they lose a point, they're patient in getting back on it. They do the right things, even though there's times where they might feel like they shouldn't lose it. They're certainly good at recuperating to make sure that they keep the leads. It's terrific discipline from them.
Yeah, 100%, and they've got the spawns here. They've got the opportunity now to hold this out. Doesn't take much longer. 30 more seconds with the 53 seconds left on this hard point. A chance to close it out here. The Annihilator won't help though. He's been shut down. Nicolax finds the 2. And now opportunities though, but there you go. The VMP. I loved that weapon back in the day. I wish it was just as good as it was forever, all the way through Call of Duty when I was playing with VMPs. But they are doing exactly what they need to do to shut the players down and keep control and make it even dicey in the middle here, so nobody's really gaining too much time. If you're Saudi Arabia, you need 30 seconds. You can't win it here, but you're not far away.
Yeah, it is practically done, and you know, 1 second off winning it from here, it will be essentially completely done from here unless Netherlands can get in and get a straight contest and hold from here. But again, you've just seen that momentum slowly but surely drain. What was 30, 40, 50 points is now extended into a 100-point deficit for the Dutch, as they are really struggling at this point to get anything from this game, and it's looking like they'll get virtually nothing. Is 140 to 248. The timer just about run out. 1 second to go before that hill is active. 2 seconds needed, and that gunfight's 1 on the point, and Saudi Arabia are going to take this one 250 to 140. A 110-point difference in the end up, as we saw Saudi Arabia on the back quarter of that game really stretch that lead.
Yeah, they definitely put that foot straight down on that accelerator pedal and just kept going all the way to the distance and made sure that they were shutting down the Netherlands every opportunity they had. Let's jump over to that scoreboard. Let's look at the standout performers for the sides. Khalid with the MVP for the Saudi Arabia side, 41 kills and only 27 deaths. That is a great little turnaround. And you're going to see pretty much the hill time split between every single member of that side as well there. So now everybody, there's no standout hill kitting, there's no standout individual in terms of just, this is my job role, I'm going to stay on that hill, we're going to get the time. Everybody's doing their part and they're all getting the kills along across the board. Netherlands just couldn't keep up the pace when it comes to the kills ratio in comparison, and that kind of what let them down. They got a few dead in the feed, but they couldn't capitalize on the breaks.
Yeah, they just didn't have what they needed. And what you have to say about Saudi Arabia as well, again, as you say, it's splitting the time very evenly. They were very compacted on hills when they got in. They broke in together as a unit. They made sure that they were all there for the trades. And then, for the most part, were able to lock down. And what I will say about Netherlands is that the only time we really were able to see them pick up a nice wave of kills was in their breaking power. Their holding power was just not there. But I do think you have to give a lot of credit to that from the side of the Saudi Arabians. I mean, they were just doing a terrific job of being able to, lock a hill or break into a hill and do a good job of holding it. Just way more map control in the overall, constantly keeping Netherlands on the outskirts, never being able to push in. And yeah, I think in the end up sort of a night and day difference from a tactical perspective.
Yeah, it definitely was a night and day performance there. When you see, like, the first set of rotations, I felt like the Netherlands, this was going to be a tight fight between the sides, and Saudi Arabia slowly started getting their groove set, and it was just all from there on out. It was pretty much just like they're early, we've got the time, we know how much time we're getting every single hill, we're always getting more than our opposition, so we were eking that scoreboard further and further away from the Netherlands, making it more and more difficult to try and get time that they needed to even close that gap, which makes it very difficult in hardpoint. If you're always kind of giving away the 20 to 30 seconds every single time at the start and at the end, you're at that deficit straight away, right? You're only getting 20 seconds yourself and you're splitting not enough time between each other. I haven't seen chat in the little corner there, so I just got a wee distraction there just to make sure I can hear it. But yeah, we're hearing a little talk back, but that's fine. We could get past that. We're used to hearing people talking in our ears. Usually it's my third person in my head anyway. But
I hear voices in my head all the time personally, so
exactly.
it's no difference for me.
Yeah, exactly. So we were like, oh yeah, we'll just got on with it. That's fine. We're used to it. But yeah, going into this final range, we've seen the final range in the last matchup, right, with Germany and Portugal. Looked like Germany were running away with things early on, but Netherlands, they started, Portugal started getting themselves back into it. With the way that it started for Netherlands, they'll need a good start here to try and swing it a little bit in their favour, and hopefully they can try and keep momentum and take that to game 3. I would like to see the crossfire tonight. That would be a good one to see between these two sides, because respawns are a very interesting one when it comes to Call of Duty Mobile, right? Using the operators at the right times and using whoever's got that sniper in hand, especially in things like control, are crucial at times to making sure that you are holding down the respawn. But we don't really get to see that very often, so it'll be good practice for some of these teams, because they might be having to face a game 3 in this group stage against some closer oppositions.
Yeah, it will be a lot of fun to see if we can get our way to the control. But again, going back into what we were talking about before, that map number 1, that I think it's all going to come down to the side, on the search and destroy, right? It is really coming down to who has that defense to begin with. We've seen so much momentum swing towards that defensive side, and I think Saudi Arabia, it's kind of a difficult one to explain, and I apologize for mincing my words here, but I think with the Netherlands, that the way that they have to play is a little bit more all over the place, because they're not quite as well gelled together as a team. It has to be a little bit more all over to make it work, which means that they may have good showing on the defense whenever they split, because they'll have an easier job to do. But when it comes to coordinating those offensive attacks, I think that's where we're going to start to see real holes being poked in their gameplay. Whereas Saudi Arabia, once they get onto that defensive side, that's going to make their job ridiculously easy. And then from there on offense, they know that they're going to guarantee themselves probably about at least 3 rounds to maybe 4 on that defense. Going on to the offense, then how coordinated they are as a team, their ability to push in as a unit and pick apart the opposition. I just think it's going to be too much for the Netherlands side, especially considering how well put together as a team Saudi Arabia were in the hard point of being able to be compacted around the hill. We've seen a lot of them get around that minute mark, so it shows they're happy to go into somewhere and be able to regroup and regain as a 4 and a 5 instead of splitting off into 2s and 3s or 2-2-1, depending on where you're sitting on the map. They'll push together. They'll overwhelm the Netherlands unless they're prepared to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you're there together, you're getting trades. Even if you do lose one, there's always somewhere there for backup, right? Exactly what they needed. And that's what happened in that hard point. It just came down to the numbers in the end. There was not enough players for the Netherlands holding it, so therefore they couldn't get the trades in time. So therefore Saudi Arabia were able to split off after they made that break and then go and close out the opposite in numbers, where the players were kind of holding spawns and such. Like, when it comes to obviously search destroy, if you're close enough together, there's a chance to be all shut down quite quickly, but there's also a chance that if you get up close and personal, user trading back and forward, and if you've got the numbers game, you should really come out on top. But it's never not the case. Sometimes you see some really fancy ones, quick scopes and turn shots where you're just seeing turning on a swivel and finding the two-piece, which when it happens, it is fantastic to see if you're that underdog side and you're managing to get the 2 kills that you need to bring it back in your favour. But heading into fire range, I really want to see this closely contested. Good luck to Netherlands, good luck to Saudi Arabia. But this is make or break here for the Netherlands. They need to try and get around on the board here and try and take this win.
Yeah, no time for, trying to get into it. They have to be able to do it now, right? It's not a best of 5, it's a best of 3. You can quickly find the series running away from you. If you can't pull it back in the search and destroy, it could be gone before you even know it, as we will see Netherlands on the defensive side to begin with. They're going to need to take these rounds early on. They've been gifted a bit of an opportunity here to reset the momentum, but even these first few rounds are going to be massive. Yeah,
definitely a slower pace start off here. No early first bloods, but you're trying to see Michael finding that first snipe, and there you go. Nuke is taken down. An opportunity now the Netherlands have in that defense. Like you said, starting off, what they needed was that defense to kind of get themselves into a rhythm. Michael will find another one, but Evoking aim does get shut down before that from Evoke. But with the way Michael is performing, if he could keep this up, he's finding more than half of the team.
Yeah, great start, and it has been a bit of a slow start from both of these sides. The pace coming right down, but I was about to say that is suiting the Netherlands. But now at a 2 versus 2, Saudi Arabia have a chance here to get something done, as they are just trying to rotate around this B side. The Netherlands are getting pushed up, as you can see in your mini map. They are just kind of sitting around the mid, ready and waiting, as it is going to be tricky to rotate around to try and pick up that bomb. A little bit all over the place here, it seems, but both of these teams still have a chance. This has been a very dragged out round 1.
Yeah, definitely, but at least to get that bomb regathered, and you know what, even though you split yourself up on both sides of the map, you're not getting picked off, which is a bonus. But now Chance Lillian finds Tricky, and now Abigail, even though he's got that bomb dropped, he's still going to have to find another opportunity to try and get around to get that. But with 10 seconds remaining, it is very much unlikely. He's going to try and run with that boxing glove in hand, but Nicolex is wise to it. Will turn on the swivel with that VMP and shuts you down from the jump down. All of a sudden, Netherlands, the first blood. Michael Cod with 3 in a round with that sniper in hand as well. We've got to keep an eye on him, because he could potentially go on some good little sniping shots, opportunities, and making sure that his side have got the favoured upper hand that they need.
And you have to give credit to the discipline of the Netherlands there to see that round through. It got difficult, it got sketchy, but they held on and made sure to link up when it became a 2 versus 1. And also in the ascendancy once again in this round now, a 4 versus 3. Having an opportunity to make that 4 versus 2. We're seeing that sniper coming in clutch. 4 kills now already in the first 2 rounds. Potentially more in the offering here. Saudi Arabia so far in the attack, struggling to poke holes in this Netherlands side.
Yeah, exactly. Lillian finds it, but then SAR will find Michael, so Michael will find another in this round. SAR will get another one. All of a sudden, it's a 1 versus 1, and Saudi Arabia have an opportunity to win an attacking round. Got the bomb down, and we'll have to regather that AA, but knowing that somebody's going to be looking over that cross. He's not in the porter cabin in mid-map. Now you've got to go on that hunt, because you've got plenty of time to think about where that player might be.
It's an interesting strategy. Really doesn't seem to want to actually play for the plant, rather just try and bait out that kill. But I do wonder, do they even know that that bomb was actually down towards A? Now eventually rotating back. These timings may not be working out at all. Unfortunate from the Saudi Arabian side. They just seem to be caught in 2 minds there as to what to do, and the timings working out well for the Netherlands. That little bit of luck in the timings that I feel like you need in the search and destroy to carry you over. Netherlands 2 round in the bag. Very, very good start from them.
I feel like where the bomb planting was there would have been more suited on the other side, but I guess that'd be to secure it when he moves away from that bomb site. But unfortunately, it's not going to be the case anyway. They didn't get the chance to put the bomb down, and Evoking will get that round win. But 2 dead already early on here for Saudi Arabia. Does get trade back from Nicolex, but Netherlands still in the upper hand in this defense, and this is exactly how they wanted their rounds to start off.
This is what Netherlands needed to do. They didn't really have an option. They needed to make the most of their defensive rounds, and so far have been able to do so. But can't count the Saudi Arabian side out yet. They're going to need to keep this pressure constant. Now in a 3 versus 2, Saudi Arabia still a man down, but never out, as it's now 2v2.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens so quickly, and you just see it all turn back to the same even Stevens numbers. 2 versus 2. We've still got Michael Cod up and alive here, but Abigail's got that sniper at hand as well, so we could be seeing a sniper battle down A. Opportunity is coming to that, but you know what? Netherlands are fairly split. They've got an A bomb site covered and a B bomb site covered, but now they'll have to send that information here and get covering towards A because that bomb's gone down and Michael Cod's being shut down now. It's all pressure on SHR and a big heal because they're going to have to watch where Lillian's coming from. Lillian gets tagged on Abigail, but will be shut down from SHR, and that is going to be a round on the board for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, a good round from Saudi Arabia in the end up. Little unfortunate there. They weren't able to get that kill and get pushed in towards that position. Just not being able to pick up the kill. Left exposed in the middle of the map. Saudi Arabia taking full advantage and getting a crucial round for them on the board as they look to try and hit a bit of a reset button themselves, going very quickly towards B. There's going to be a couple of players there ready and waiting for them. This could get intense and aggressive. Grenades going in, not doing any damage as of yet, but everyone knows where everyone else's is, so this is turning into a bloodbath very quickly.
Oh yeah, it's just back and forward. Nicolax finds 2 of his own. It's going to be upper hand Netherlands though. I was going to say 4 versus 2, but it's now a 3 versus 2. SHR finds 1, but he's traded now. Nicolax, another round on the board, goes the way of Netherlands. Quite easy enough. Full momentum from Saudi Arabia, trying to brute force B. Didn't work out for them this time round, but at least it makes Netherlands think, what are they going to do next?
Yeah, I mean, Netherlands definitely going to have to keep on top of Saudi Arabia and try and keep on top of these reads, but they're doing a terrific job of picking up these kills when they do, constantly picking up 2s, you know, never dropping in like 1-1s, making things a bit difficult. When it's that first wave of kills, they always make sure to get a couple to really put the pressure on Saudi.
Yeah, it must be a bonus as well, as when your first kill is picking up SHR, who's the top fragger so far of the Saudi Arabia roster. You'll be happy days. And now you've got a upper hand in this defense. Kalish trying to find a peek over the potential defenders on the other side, but not getting even a little pixel of any of the players visible. And climbing up the ladder, you're going to be caught out. It's going to be easy shots from there on out from Kaishu. You'll shut down Abigail, and now you've got a 2-man advantage of your Netherlands. Michael Cod makes it a 3-man advantage.
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia are really looking on the back foot here and running out of options, at least from the attacking point of view. Could we see that switch on the defense? Only time will tell, but we're seeing a completely different complexion between these two sides at the moment, where the Netherlands are in complete control and Saudi Arabia are struggling to find virtually anything here other than relying on a couple of big picks.
Sometimes S&D is just your game mode, right? Sometimes it is, and you know what? S&D normally wins your championships in a best of 3. S&D will take you to a game 3 and to a respawn. This is the hard part. That nade though will take you straight to that respawn for our next round, but Nicolax gets shut down from Khaled. The Vulcan aim will shut him down as a trade, but we're over towards that B bomb site where it was an absolute bloodfest last time round. Tricky finds Kaishu and gives Saudi Arabia the man advantage. Abigail makes it another one, and Michael Cod has got the op to do 1 versus 4. Can only find 1, sadly. Will be taken out by Tricky. It's going to be a 4-2 changeover, and guess what? It's the same as game number 1, a 4-2 before the change. Will that change the complexion of the game and how it finishes off? Will Saudi Arabia have a lot better defense going forward?
Yeah, that was a pretty big round for Saudi Arabia. To get 4-2 is a hell of a lot more manageable than 5-1, and now that you're swapping to the arguable favourite side, can you make the most of that? They are looking like they're completely wiping this Netherlands side off the board here. Not the best offensive start.
Well, Nicolax has found 2, but he's going to have a difficult task. But he finds a 3rd, but eventually SHR will shut him down. If Nicolax was to clutch up there, that would have been a 1v5 scenario and finding the whole roster. But unfortunately, it is numbers game in the end of the day, and Saudi Arabia just had the numbers.
Saudi Arabia, terrific start. Already you can tell that they're feeling more comfortable coming at it from this side as they look to get a watch on the cross. It is going to be a little bit more passive from the Netherlands than it initially looked. They're just picking up these positions and now just waiting to rely on a few picks, as we are seeing a flanker as well come through from Saudi Arabia. Keep an eye on your mini-maps, folks. This could be the player that undoes the whole thing. It's going to be Tricky round the back to potentially leave the Netherlands a bit pinched in here. Tricky picking up 1.
Traded out.
Now a 2 versus 1 scenario.
Yeah, it's turned in their favour, but Nicolax is the player you need to turn it back in your favour. Netherlands take out 1 more, and it's a 1v1. Nuke versus Nicolax. The battle of the ends, but it's 13 kills versus 3. Favour Nicolax here as he puts that palm down. Netherlands will be happy if they can get around to the board, especially in the attack early on.
Well, you know, the Netherlands sort of not making the same mistake Saudi Arabia did, making sure to get that bomb early and at least force the pressure their way instead of relying a little bit too much on a bit of luck as to where players are positioned. Now potentially going to be positioned perfectly to pick up this kill here. The Netherlands, Nuke trying to dodge in and out, but hello, Sailor! What a snipe! And Saudi Arabia are going to tie this one up.
That's what it needs, just the one-shot connection that you need. If you're Nuke, you might have had the least amount of kills in comparison to the player you're playing up against, but when you have a sniper at your disposal, just like that, it only needs one bullet.
Could that be the major swinging moment here between these two sides? The Netherlands desperately trying to fight their way towards a map 3. Saudi Arabia looking to wrap it up. We're looking in trouble, but all of a sudden, after that crucial moment, could potentially be back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Nuke there again takes out Michael. Straight off the rip, first blood going their way. Advantage defense once again. Nicolax though, he just can't stop that player. He's finding kills every single round. Cashew finds a second, makes it favourable for the attackers for the next time. But oh, Khaled finds one, finds 10. Oh, I thought he was going to wipe free there, but Khaled gets shut down by Lillian, and all of a sudden it's a 2v2 scenario.
In Saudi Arabia, they know where the opposition are here. They know where the Netherlands are. These peaks are just going to be huge. They're keeping the bomb site guarded at least. Massive pick from Lillian. And there's one, but the trade's there. Netherlands, crucial offensive round. And keeping themselves in the lead now. Putting themselves in the lead once again, just about. But it is not looking clean here. This is shaky stuff.
Yeah, it is very, very anybody's game, really, to be honest, in these rounds. That was it's getting close. It looks like you've got the advantage, and all of a sudden before you know it's a 2v2, a 1v1 scenario, and Michael Codd has finally found the first blood for the first time in quite so many rounds. Looking to see, adds a second as well as SHR lines up inside that ops, and all of a sudden you've got a 2-man advantage. Make that free. Lillian finds one. Nicolax finds a 4th. Tricky has got a 1v5 scenario and can't find one. Netherlands take it to map point. The chance to get the first map on the board in the series and take that to a game 3. Can they do it in this attacking side?
I'm not a fan of the way Saudi Arabia have played these last couple of rounds. They've gotten a little bit more aggressive perhaps than they should have, and the Netherlands are reading it now and potentially going to read it again here as they're sending nades over towards this B side again, just trying to slow down that flank that Saudi Arabia have been trying to do. They need to just play a bit more passive on the defense here if they want to deal with Netherlands and not fall into the trap of the bait. Again, we're seeing how well Netherlands are sniping at the moment. 15 kills from Nicolax as well. You just can't be pushing in too aggressive.
No, I see, but being slower here for Saudi Arabia, they've got 2 kills going their way. There's no need to rush things. You've got to force the attackers to make that play, right? As a defense, you should always be just sitting, waiting for your prey to come and get that objective sorted out, because that's the only way you're winning the round, or you're winning kills, right? And if you're running into Saudi Arabia in a defensive situation, as a defender, you're hoping to win these situations because you're ready and prepped for it. And so far, they're looking prepped in this round compared to the last previous rounds. But Nicolax finds Tricky. Michael Coddo will fall. And now it's a 2 versus 4. Netherlands all to play for here in this attack with 55 seconds left remaining. Heading towards that B bomb site.
I'm not liking how disjointed Saudi Arabia have gone on this push, but now potentially linking up the timings working well, but it's been very singular. Both of the players that Saudi Arabia have dropped has been just ones that have been isolated, which is just making life harder for them. But now that they know B is the target, they should hopefully be able to hold this one down. As the time running out, 30 seconds left to go. Next kill will be massive, and it looks like Saudi Arabia are going to be able to hold on here, so it's now a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, Kaisu's going to have a difficult task. He's trying to crawl past without being seen. Player number 4, though, knows he's there. He'll attach to chase it, and there's going to be watched down, straight down through the porter cabin, and there we go. Nuke will shut him down. Takes it 6-5. Still, map point here for Netherlands, but this could be going to overtime.
Netherlands are in a difficult position now where it feels like if Saudi Arabia play it slow again, Netherlands do struggle to find an answer, because the only kills that the Netherlands were getting in that round was mistakes that Saudi Arabia were making in terms of peeking the angles and leaving themselves too isolated and alone. And it looks like Saudi Arabia are once again vying for that slow option. They have dropped one player, but they are going to take it slow. Tricky just needs to make sure that he does not get caught again in that position. Huge kill coming through.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Lillian as well. Looked up a little bit further than where he could see through that gun, and it was going to be shut down. Netherlands, though, did get one back afterwards, and all of a sudden you're in a 4 versus 3 scenario. And Saudi Arabia, I've missed a shot there with SHR. Doesn't miss the second one. No, holy moly. Wall assist that comes through the wall. It didn't look like it went through the wall. Looked like it went right through that body. But it definitely shut the Netherlands player down. Now you're back to an even round. 3 versus 3 scenario.
And what is the play here from the Netherlands? Seeing this flank come through, picking up one and getting out. That is potentially a huge kill.
Yeah, that could have changed the whole momentum here in Saudi Arabia, starting to take control of the round. Positions met, Vulcan trying to get the wall bangs, but Abigail will shut him down. It is a tied game. We switch sides. Guess what? Overtime. It needs to be 1 by 2. As far as I'm aware, it still says target 7. I'm pretty sure you still have to win by 2 clear rounds. I'll make sure that is the case, but it is going to be interesting to see who is going to take this one here in the overtime.
Saudi Arabia once again on that offensive side that they're not as comfortable on, but have they learned from their mistakes? Are they going to be able to take it to the Netherlands here, getting a crucial first blood? Can they make the most of that here? Will they get moved up, or are they going to continue to play patient? They do have a chance to maybe hit a 5-stack rotation over towards B. Netherlands once again leaving a player sort of isolated around there. But of course, they are not to know that. And now Netherlands, I think, getting or potentially eyeing up. Nicolax looking like they want to get a little bit more congested here. Make sure that they stick together, being the player down. And the Netherlands slowly moving up.
Yeah, tries to find a Vulcan and does manage to do that through the window from the top lighthouse position, well, the overwater position. Great spot, great kill, and an opportunity still here. Saudi Arabia with the 2-man advantage in this attacking side, which we always say is the difficult side. But if you get 2 kills early on, you've got a chance, you've got opportunities. Lillian gets SHR very weak, tries to go for the wall bang, can't do it. Khalid comes to chase him, but it looks like Khalid will find Lillian, and now you've got Michael Coy and Nicolax, the 2 big fraggers in this Netherlands roster, looking to try and find the remaining 4 players here of Saudi Arabia. Bomb's gone down though, so it's all against them. It's all on Michael.
Not a good situation for Michael to be in. Maybe could get one, but not even getting dropped. And Saudi Arabia coming away with the round. Squad eliminated. Not the position you want to be in as the Netherlands. That was a horrible round to drop.
Yeah, it was. You were in the ascendancy. You had map point in your hands, but I think maybe it is. It is ending there, yeah. I always thought we got a 2-round disadvantage in terms of the search and destroy. Obviously, the case was just target to 7, and there we go. Saudi Arabia clutch up in the end and come back from what looked like almost Netherlands taking that to game 3.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not over.
Say, we're just getting
I
it.
thought that.
We're just getting it. It's not over.
It's meant to be
over.
a 2.
Don't get scared.
Should be overtime. Game was set up wrong. That's what it was. Well,
Okay,
we're going to bring up the current leaderboard just now, guys. Well, we're not going to see any of the players because they all left, but Khalid, MVP for his side so far, is another round they need to win, though, for Saudi Arabia. So we're going to be setting up another match, another lobby going into this one. There'll be no momentum shift, so it might actually change the play, but it means, obviously, the swap sides. So the defense there will then be the attacking side. So we'll see what it goes into it. Whether the Netherlands can bring it back to evens and start getting momentum back behind them. Maybe this change of lobby resets them as well. Maybe that starts to even their heads out after realizing they had map point opportunity.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're going to be able to get this one back underway as soon as we can, as well as we're just trying to make sure that the players understand as well that the game is not over, so they can get themselves back in and ready to go. So apologies for a little bit of a delay on that one, folks, but I am really excited to see if we can get into what could potentially be the last round should Saudi Arabia be able to take it, or we could see a little bit of an elongated situation should the Netherlands come away with the victory. But, I mean, it gives us the opportunity to sort of pick apart a little bit of what we've seen in that game. And, you know, what I thought we'd see is definitely not what happened. Granted, the defensive side proving to be easier, but Saudi Arabia, I think, were almost the making their own demise at moments, because we've seen them start to drop a couple of rounds on the defensive side of things by simply getting over aggressive and getting very, very isolated in the fights that they were taking. We often seen Tricky being that singular player alone over on defense at B, just edging his way a little bit too far forward. It worked a couple of times, but the Netherlands were able to adjust, get in there, and be able to sort of plug that gap, being able to consistently just keep that area walled off. And Saudi Arabia found themselves dropping lives, trying to push up too aggressively on the defense, which allowed the Netherlands just to swallow them then on a kept together offense. It was I think a very crucial moment. I wonder if you agree with me, Mark. It was a very crucial moment for Saudi Arabia when they recognized that mistake and were able to put a pin in it really quick.
Yeah, as soon as they realized that going aggressive and trying to go to, like, they were going individually, whereas we thought if they were going aggressive, they were going to go as a squad, they were going to go together, look for the trades. That wasn't the case. So they sent players off. They were getting picked off one for one, and then all of a sudden it was their demise for a few rounds. But when they slowed it down, got the things together, they started getting the picks. Yeah, it was slower, but it doesn't matter how fast you do it, right? If you're on that defensive side, it's all in your favour. A kill always helps in that defensive round straight away, and you can make that last as long as you wish, because time's on your side. Always on your side, and Saudi Arabia recognised that, and it worked out for them eventually to bring the rounds back in their favour, hence the reason they are now with the upper hand. But they're going to have an attack round next to try and do against what's going to be was a very decent side in Netherlands in that defence. They just need to make sure they're shutting down Nicolax if you're Saudi Arabia, and shutting down Michael, not letting him get that scopes off at the start and finding the first blood, because that'll instantly make it a little bit harder if you're Saudi Arabia. But either way, it's match point for Saudi Arabia if they win this next round. So fingers crossed for them, but also Netherlands, they've got a chance to bring this back to evens, and it could be back and forward for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, Netherlands definitely have a great chance, right? But what I think both of these sides need to understand from this game at the moment, and choose to play into it how they so choose, is that we are seeing at the moment the Netherlands being able to revel a little bit in the chaos, right? When this game of the Search and Destroy gets aggressive, for the most part, except for the beginning, where I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the Netherlands maybe did take the original round number one, where it was a very slow round. But we were seeing the Netherlands revel in the chaos of, as you say, the Saudis splitting up a little bit more on the pushes, getting a little bit more aggressive when they shouldn't have been. Because even on that last offensive round that we seen from Saudi Arabia, they were not particularly aggressive on that offense. They were relying on a couple of picks. They were relying on getting that information from distance, but also making sure that they weren't getting picked off themselves. And we were seeing them get picked off a lot when they were on the offensive side, leaving themselves overexposed, getting over aggressive, trying to enforce themselves upon a side early on. The longer that they let a game go, they seem to be playing with the timing slightly more, which is leaving the Netherlands in a position where they're not as strong at being able to read, you know, when they should be coming out of the peaks, when to go at the right time, whether they should move over to B, starting to instill a little bit of second guessing of movements, which is allowing Saudi Arabia to then, if they haven't got the picks, get a little bit more pushed up with a little better of a chance. I think Saudi Arabia are benefiting from playing a slower game at the moment, and the Netherlands will need to find a way to fix that. Whether the answer from the Netherlands is to get overly aggressive themselves on the defensive side of things, I'm not sure. Maybe it is just a case of getting ultra passive and allowing the Saudis to actually almost fully engulf a site and then start to wrap around.
Yeah, maybe they have to try and figure out a different way around it, a different approach, definitely. Or maybe they try and do what the Saudis try to do, right? Is full force one of the sites quickly enough that the Saudis are slowing it down, so they're too far away to think about where you're going. Like, that you go towards that B push early. If you get there quickly enough, they're set up normally for that A defense, right? Most of the time, people are thinking you're going to go towards A, so they're set up straight off the rip. And if you're doing it quite passively, like Saudi Arabia started doing in the end, maybe then if you're Netherlands, right, you go, right, we speed it up a little bit, and that catches them off guard. But that could also be a tale of two sort of sides, right? That could instantly pinch you in the back as well, and you force yourself into losing the first lives, and then all of a sudden you're panicking because you're down numbers, and you think, right, okay, they know where we are now. This is it. This could all unfold, and Saudi take away the win. Which now, there's pressure on Netherlands either way. No matter what, they need to win the round, or else they are going down 2-0 in this series in their first game. So either way, it's going to be a difficult, and they're going to have to start thinking about what they're going to do. And with this time between hands, this is where they can start thinking about it while they're setting themselves in, right? What's our plan of action? How are we taking this next round, and how do we think we can turn this in our favour?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, one thing that we need to take away, I think, from all of this is, you know, regardless of the outcome here, I think what we've seen from this kind of opening day, what we're seeing from this group is that this group is going to be very, very interesting to watch throughout. I mean, I'm looking at Germany or Germany, clearly a strong side, clearly a side that's going to be making it nearly, if not all the way themselves. I take a look at the rest of these sides. I'm looking at the way Saudi Arabia are playing. I'm looking at how Netherlands shaped up, and I'm looking at the way that Portugal were able to handle some of the moments against Germany. That second spot is really up for grabs. Like, I mean, I think any of these teams playing against each other at any moment, we could see completely different outcomes. I think, again, it'll largely depend on the map set of the days as well. And, you know, you talked about not seeing many map threes, but we're still are potentially on the precipice of a map number 3 here. And I have a feeling with these 3 teams, we could definitely see them take each other all the way. If not here, then maybe at some point in the future. I think it's a very evenly matched setup at that bottom 3.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a difficult ground to find out who's going to come up in second spot. Saudis, we thought, had the favoured hand, but the Netherlands are taking them quite some distance in this search and destroy. Almost had the opportunity to take it away from them as well and take it to game 3, which we're hoping to see some crossfire for sure. But hopefully we get into that game very soon. We should be kicking us off very, very shortly, chat. But have you got your polls in? Have you got your predictions in? I'm sure there's a poll up there already in that YouTube there. See, actually, have we got the results?
Yeah, we have it here.
Yeah,
we have
54%.
Match 2. Yeah, 54% in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
that is. I mean, what? You know what I'm really liking about that though, and what's making it really interesting to me? 54 to 46. That's close. I mean, it even just shows the people watching at home. They think that between these two sides, that is potentially neck and neck. You know, again, maybe just more Netherlands fans here than Saudi Arabia, or maybe just astute observers when it comes to COD Mobile and breaking down the teams player by player. But I mean, I think the closeness of that percentage vote, you know, it really does tie into how close it's ended up being and how much of a nail biter it is.
Yeah, exactly that. I think we've got Michael actually in the COD chat as well, speaking about things and trying to get things sorted as well as quickly as we possibly can. But as it stands, like we do have issues with different pings back and forward, right? Yeah, so there is different countries and nations playing, right? But that's the joys of the Nations Cup, right? We're all playing at different things, different pings, different opportunities. You know what? That's the joys of online gaming, right? It's just a difficult part to deal with. But in the grand scheme of things, you know what, Netherlands, we've been a team that's been put together as like a very much thrown together side for this Nations Cup, who managed to get themselves here and get themselves to compete. They are doing a standout job of doing so against a team that have got players who have been playing in Saudi Arabia, been playing in major tournaments already in COD Mobile. So you are doing very well to take them to overtime in a search and destroy and still have opportunities to win this series, right? All it needs is a couple of rounds on the board ahead of what Saudi Arabia gets. You could take that to that game 3 in this firing range. It's opportunities soon enough, I hope, as well. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's. I think it's just got to say we've said everything that I think we can say between these two sides, right? You know, Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, been very, very close between these two sides, and you know, as we wait to get into the overtime, hopefully we'll get there. You know, very, very shortly as we try to work through these technical issues. I think it is going to be a nail biter once we finally get back in.
Yep, exactly. Let's get to that flyover, and we'll catch you once the map gets underway for what will be overtime, and we don't know how long it will be for, but it's going to be a great one.
defend the objectives.
There we go. Overtime kicks us off. Remember, this is advantage to Saudi Arabia. It is map and match point. They need one round on the board here. But Netherlands kick off with the first two kills. Exactly what the defensive side need to try and take this to 7-7 and keep these S&D rounds going.
But what I will say is that they've gotten themselves wrapped around to be able to get that plant. They have got the bomb down. Netherlands are going to have to rotate, and they've dropped the player in doing so. This is going to be a huge one for Saudi Arabia, as they did maybe catch a little bit off guard, but getting dropped here so quickly to begin with. Netherlands just sticking together. There's so much danger being presented. Now all of a sudden a 1 versus 4, not looking good for the Netherlands here.
Yeah, this is looking unfortunate. It was a wee bit of switch around because the sides did change, but you know what that means? That means the Netherlands are shut down pretty quickly in the round. It should be us well and truly done, I'm sure. Or is it going to be 2+ rounds you got to win by, is it? Because it's definitely 2 rounds up now if you're Saudi Arabia. But we'll just see. I think that's it. They're just all looking at each other. We know for a fact this is it. Khaled's left the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Saudi Arabia, take it away. It was all that hype for what potentially be a good long overtime zip, but we were shut down pretty quickly, and Netherlands just couldn't clutch up.
Yeah, just, unfortunately, Netherlands just didn't have it there. I think a nice 2 kills to begin with from the Saudis just meant that the Netherlands, they were really scrambling. I think, again, they've done a good job to get over to B, get that bomb down, had the potential opportunity to catch all those players on rotation, but the Saudis doing a great job of staying compact, sticking together, and making sure that they were able to isolate those picks. The Netherlands, I think, never really stood a chance once Saudi got so compacted towards that B so early instead of being picked off around the middle of the map. Or, if the Saudis maybe tried at least, or Netherlands, excuse me, had tried at least a full rotation around the back, something different. But they stayed very, very compact in B once they got that bomb down. And I think that just left them, there to be picked apart. And Saudis managed to successfully do that, get over the line in what was a very stop-start map in the end up. But one of which the Saudis, they don't care about that. They'll be happy that they've got that one done and that they picked up the victory.
Yeah, they would definitely be happy nonetheless. That is a good win for Saudi Arabia. They were favoured to be second in the Group A so far. They're going to be second ending today here for Group A. Because, Germany, they're standout performers for sure as well. But that is Group A done with for week number 1 here in the Nations Cup here for UCE. You know what, though? There is more action tomorrow, right? It is Group B action. You're going to be watching Spain versus Romania. Philippines versus England. Could potentially be nail-biters. I'm going to see us two, sadly, Zep. It's not going to be us. We're going to see Infinity and Diana taking the casting reins for the next 2 days. Well, at least, I say 2 days. The next 2 casts that will be up here for the Nations Cup. You'll see them on the 18th, which is tomorrow. And on the 20th for the next games in Group C and in D on the Friday. So look forward to more Nations Cup action. Zip, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed your COD Mobile experience for your first time. How did that go for you?
Oh, it was so much fun. It's terrific to finally get in here, work with all you talented guys as well. I mean, Mark, we've worked together plenty of times before. To be able to kind of get in, dip my toes into the COD Mobile space and finally get the chance to cast over a game. It is so much fun. It is so nice to see these different maps, blast from the past, and alongside the weapons and the specialists, seeing them in a new scenario, utilized in sort of a new esport. And again, as we talked about, the amount of times just forget these guys are playing on their phones. They're not playing with controller. How do they do it? It is just it is amazing to see, just such, exactly. I mean, it's just such talented players across the board. So entertaining to watch. I mean, the fact that they're hitting those snipes on phone, I mean, just admiration. That is all I have for them.
Unreal.
So entertaining to watch, and looking forward to hopefully covering a lot more with you in future.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, claw gripping on a mobile phone is something to be seen, and you can see it by some of the classic snipe shots that you're coming in, the 360 turnarounds and instantly swivel on a 50 pence piece, which is very difficult to do on a controller. I have no idea how they do it on a mobile, but they do it so well. But these sides have been fantastic to watch over this evening. It's been fantastic. From the production in the background, you don't see them, but they do all this work. None of this, all these faces that come into you, isn't done by us. It's all done by the guys in the back, and they've done a fantastic job at that, and well done for you guys in the back as well. You don't get enough appreciation for it, but we do appreciate you, everything he's doing. Guys, chat, stay with us for the rest of the Nations Cup to come. Hopefully you'll see me and Zep again on your screens, but for now, that's the Nations Cup Group A finished with for this evening. We'll see you again very soon.